Food in America compared to the UK. Why is it so different?
Is there different regulations and such?
I don't know.
Or do they just eat only fish and chips?
They only eat beans on toast in the UK.
True. Dang beans.
Let's check it out. Here we go.
Did you know that if you were to buy certain food ingredients at a grocery store in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and in America, same brand, same type chip, a packaged good, you can buy the exact same brand of food and the ingredient labels will be completely different. I believe this is one of the main reasons why the United States is so sick. What I'm about to show you of what we allow into our products compared to what is happening in other parts of the world is shocking. And it's kind of shameful for the government regulation or lack thereof that goes into this and the foods you're about to see of what is making us so sick in America, leading the way in chronic disease. So this is the one of the things that really opened my eyes to how food companies, especially in America, are just exploiting us. I've spent years investigating this, and the difference between European and American food and the products and what I found that I'm about to show you, it disgusted me. So back in 2012, I went to the London Olympics. I got the privilege to be an Olympic team doctor and support the athletes leading up to it for the wrestling team and weightlifting team, and got to be at the Olympic house and see many of them win medals. And it's a fantastic experience. And Nurse Living Good, my wife, got to go with me, and we raised money for these athletes and helped support them. It's amazing how little support some of the athletes don't get. But while I was over there, I got to experience European food. And I noticed there was a big difference on some simple foods in a convenience store, in a grocery store, compared to the ones back in America. So right now we're going to break down some of the pictures, comparing them from a before or after. Now, this resource I came across with Food Babe, who does a fantastic job of putting them side by side, but it's the exact same thing that I saw and confirmed when I was over there at the Olympics, looking at these companies like Kraft, Heinz, Kellogg's, Pepsi Company, Quaker. They sell safer, better products overseas while making inferior versions right here in America, feeding it to Americans. The evidence that you're about to see runs the gamut from fast food places.
So do you think with the current head of like the health department in the United States, when he said, oh, you know, if we want our food to be healthier, we need to get rid of all this useless regulation. You think that's going to make it less chemicals be in our food?
I think your voice wasn't proper when you...
Well, if you want more... I can't even do. His voice is so cartoonish that it's...
Cake mixes to cereals to candies, even oatmeal. You can't escape it. So this is what set me down this path of calling out big food industries, calling out big pharma industries, but leading you guys to make food simple. And I've never looked back of trying to figure out what's causing us to be so sick instead of waiting for people to get sick or exploiting sick people like big pharma and big food has done. Check these out. Here are 6 products that are completely different overseas than they are in America. Let's start with the big one, McDonald's French fries.
Oh boy.
They make their iconic French fries in the UK with a few simple ingredients: potatoes, oil, dextrose, salt. But in the US, completely different label. They're made with natural beef flavor, they're made with sodium, they're made with pyrophosphate, and they are fried in oil laced with anti-foaming agents. That's the main ingredient in silly putty. But why is it ending up in our food? They've somehow figured out to cook their fries without all these extra ingredients overseas, but why not here?
Because if it doesn't last for 2 weeks, then it's not good.
Yeah, which is weird too, because you'd expect that, like, the dang... I don't know if they still use the Idaho potatoes overseas, but if they're shipping further overseas, you'd think they'd throw more preservatives and stuff in there.
It's almost like you don't need it.
Quaker Oats. These instant oat packets. Did you know Quaker Oats strawberries and cream has 0 strawberries? In the US, Quaker mimics the look and the taste of real strawberries, and what they use is flavored and colored fruit pieces. They're comprised of dehydrated apples, and then they use
Interesting.
artificial strawberry flavoring, citric acid, and artificial dye, red number 40, which would cause concentration issues. It's total craziness. It's not even a strawberry. Meanwhile, UK, Quaker doesn't even attempt to sell that garbage. It doesn't make any products like
They use freeze-dried
the
things.
closest counterpart that
That's
they have is a
so
product
different.
called
That's
Oat
crazy how
Toast
different the ingredients are.
that has real strawberries in it, and it's light years ahead of the popular US version that's made with all those toxic artificial dyes and artificial colorings.
Even on the UK one still, I never know what it means when they say like dang natural flavoring at the end or artificial flavoring. Like it's so vague for something that is normally so specific.
You just gotta assume natural's better, right?
Yeah, you gotta, because I mean, US artificial flavors in there.
Red 40 right here.
UK
Oof.
is natural, so it's better, right?
Oof, look at all that. What is reduced iron?
Well, it's when you take iron and you smelt it extra time in the furnace.
Oh.
That's made with all those toxic artificial dyes and artificial colorings.
Creaming agent.
So yeah, like that. They don't even. Oh wait, they do in the parentheses, but that's how they like describe that.
Sodium caseinate.
And artificial colorings. Number 3 is Mountain
Mountain
Dew.
Dew
Now,
is
none of
always a
these
crazy
foods
one.
are healthy. I don't advise eating them. And some of you can just save the comment of like, well, I just shouldn't eat them anyway. But I'm just comparing how are they approved overseas? And here we're allowed to put all this garbage in there. I mean, you pick up a bottle of Mountain Dew in the UK, and you'll find that it gets its bright yellow color simply from beta carotene. It's a natural color derived from carrots and other plants. Meanwhile, Pepsi, who makes Mountain Dew, sells a very different version
No
of
high
Mountain Dew in
fructose
America.
corn syrup in the UK
Here in the
version.
States,
I
instead
don't
of
want
using
it.
natural
Get
color,
outta
colors,
here.
it gives it
Just
that
kidding.
bright popping look. Mountain Dew is artificially colored with a petroleum-based dye called yellow number 5.
Oil?
Major problems with reproductive issues and allergens with that. Now, artificial dyes are common in America, but that doesn't make them okay to eat. They've been linked to several health issues, like I just explained, as well as they're known carcinogens, some of them. They're certainly not as safe as beta carotene, but Mountain Dew, that story gets worse. The US version of Mountain Dew also contains brominated vegetable oil, BVO. And that ingredient is banned in Europe.
Why does that need
Way
to
back
be
in
Mountain Dew?
2014, Pepsi said, okay.
Because if it
we're gonna do
doesn't
the
look completely radioactive, nobody's gonna buy
Yeah,
it.
true. They need the colors to attract the
Come on.
eyes.
right thing. We're going to remove BVO from all the American drinks following a real successful petition that was put on. But they still have not removed it from Mountain Dew. Nearly, this many years later. They continue to sell the BVO-free version in other countries, and they allow us to stay sick and toxic. Number 4, Heinz ketchup. The kind you're going to
Good thing I
find
don't eat
in
that.
almost every restaurant in America. Heinz ketchup is GMO-free,
My
in the United
fructose
Kingdom.
corn syrup.
but full of genetically modified organisms and high fructose corn syrup in the United
What the heck is just spice?
Spice. Yeah, again, they don't have to be like it's very specific with just spice.
They have spice here too, but spice. That's such an interesting one.
States, along with lab-produced natural flavorings, which not all of them are bad, but from a company like this, they're bad. And it helps create an addiction to the product. Think of that the next time you're dipping your fries and you can't stop eating that ketchup.
That makes me uncomfortable
Now,
watching
Heinz is
those
attempting to
droplets
make a
onto the top of
simply
the fries.
Heinz version ketchup in the United States with natural flavorings and cleaner ingredients. Why don't they just make the same one that they use over in the UK as their regular ketchup?
Why not?
There's
Cheaper.
no need for all the heavy processing, but they want to get you more addicted to it, so you'll buy more of it. It's a problem. Number 5, Doritos. Now, both versions of Doritos are horrible, but the American Doritos are covered in artificial dyes. They're all made from petroleum, the red number 40, the blue number 1.
That's a lot of ingredients. What the
Super
heck?
toxic.
Why the heck
dyes have
does
been
why do Doritos need red 40, blue 1, yellow 5? Why do they need that?
Yeah, that seems like something where at this point everyone knows what a Dorito is going to taste like if it tastes the same.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
found to be
There's
contaminated
corn
with
syrup
carcinogens.
solids, corn syrup solids in Doritos.
Some weird stuff in this
Such
food.
as benzidine. Benzenes can create some really ugly blood cancers if overconsumed. In the UK, these dyes require a warning label that they may have adverse effects on the activity and attention in children, let alone other side effects. So No company wants to put that on their product because people won't buy it, so they just don't use the artificial dyes. Instead, they simply use things like paprika extract and annatto in order to get the flavoring. The Doritos in the UK are also non-genetically modified, while the American versions are made up of GMO corn contaminated with glyphosate, that herbicide, weed killer.
So if they do it in the UK and all over Europe and all over the world, do they really save that much money using all that crap in the US?
Yeah, and like his point he made about getting people more addicted to certain things, is it really that much more addictive?
It's so weird. I mean, we know that what it comes down to is them making more money.
Yeah.
So
What specifically is like,
why in the US?
yeah, and is it actually like proven any of those motives do make them more money? Somehow it does.
It has to, yeah.
But what specifically?
Weird.
Then laced with all these chemicals. Finally, number 6, Frosted Flakes. The jingle.
Oh, no.
These are different because they even changed the
Mighty, Mighty
name.
Tiger. I mean, I
Yeah,
ate
they're
them as a
Frosties
kid.
in a lot
I
of
get it.
countries.
There's no nutritional value going on here. But at first glance, the Frosted Flakes in the United States and the UK, they look nearly identical. But there's one big difference. There's a preservative in the US version called BHT. Now, this is important because there's a lot of controversial research.
I gotta say, when I have been in the US the last year, we usually don't live in the US. We're actually living in the Philippines right now. But Frosted Flakes was one of the better ones for the ingredients.
Yeah, they're like known to be healthier compared to the other cereals.
I mean, this one didn't have like trisodium phosphate and some of the red dyes in it that like Fruity Pebbles or Fruit Loops or some of the other ones would have. So there's like sometimes where I'd like look at it and I'd be like, I'm just gonna get this one because it doesn't have all those other things. So that's crazy that this is probably one of the better ones.
BHT to cancer. And it's believed to also be an endocrine disruptor, which means it's going to mess with your hormones, men and women. And it's not even permitted in cereals in Europe. So Kellogg's reformulated their cereals so that they can legally sell them overseas. And then following a petition to get the BHT out of it.
Wait, so in the Philippines,
overseas.
it's Frosted Flakes, right?
It's Frosties.
It's
actually.
Frosties?
Yeah.
Really? So even in the Philippines they do it?
In the Philippines, there's two types of imports a lot of times they get. It's direct from America or from Thailand usually. And the Frosted Flakes are from Thailand, so it's Frosties.
Interesting.
But the Doritos, I'm pretty sure, they say export on them. So I'd assume those come directly from the U.S. But who knows? Maybe they're also from some other place in Southeast Asia as well. I don't know what the regulations are in the other Southeast Asian countries. I don't know.
Apparently Thailand's got some better ones if it's Frosties, but interesting.
And then following a petition to get the BHT out of it, Kellogg's removed it from several brands like Rice Krispies, but it still uses it several years later in the Frosted Flakes still, despite selling it BHT free in other parts of the world. It makes no sense. Why don't these companies just sell the same safer products everywhere?
How old is this video? 2 years? It's possible that Frosted Flakes doesn't have BHT anymore. I feel like I'd pick that sometimes because it didn't have those things. I don't eat cereal very much, like not that much at all, but that was like, I feel like it might not anymore, actually.
I'll tell you why. Europe takes a precautionary principle approach towards food additives that are potentially risky. They ban or they add warning labels to these additives for their people. The US takes the opposite approach. It doesn't remove the additives from our food supply until they have been proven to be dangerous.
So you're saying that the EU again, not EU, sorry, this is UK. I can't, sorry.
Watch yourself here.
Europe again does more stuff for the people rather than for the companies.
You messed that up. They're also going to be angry that you used Europe as a generalizing term. They don't like when you say that.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
In response to his also generalizing term.
Not allowed.
That can take years and a lot of red tape to get approved. So it literally means you're the lab rat. Americans are the lab rat. And the US government allows food companies to largely police itself, deciding which ingredients they're going to use, which chemicals they're going to use, which additives they're going to use, which ones are safe to add to their own products. That clearly isn't a wise approach, is it? Because if a company can get away with a cheaper ingredient, they're going to do it. Given a choice, they're always going to opt for the cheaper flavor enhancer, the cheaper color additive, the cheaper preservative, the cheaper genetically modified organism and ingredient. Even if these cheaper alternatives have negative health impacts, they're going to choose that route for the sake of profit over people. Truth is that no one's watching out for us. No one's going to take better care of you and your family's health than you. When they tell you that they know their processed foods are safe, they're telling you a lie. So I've dedicated a big part of my teachings and my life towards educating people on the deceptiveness of, one, big pharma and drugs and waiting to get sick and covering them up in side effects, and big food and all the garbage that ends up in our unreal food, and help them make food simple. So I put several chapters in my Amazon best-selling book, Make Food Simple, because it's a subject that there's a lot more that you need to know about, to watch out for, to learn how to read labels. The food industry doesn't care about your health.
I was about to see if he was truly based and have us check if he has a course or something too.
He's got a book, don't worry.
He's got a book. I didn't even
take you to the grocery store to start teaching you how to.
So this is the interesting thing in the United States. Big pharma, big food, they're both coming at you in bad ways. But we don't have a political party to represent the interests of the people that will go after either of those things. Sometimes they'll pretend and they'll use it as buzzwords like, oh, we have to go after big pharma. But then somehow it turns to, you shouldn't get any vaccines whatsoever. It's so interesting. There is nobody in the United States, in the two parties in our duopoly that we have, that represent the people and that will go against these companies like this that are poisoning people.
It's not even close.
No.
It's not even close at all. Like, most people just don't even know about these issues.
No. So it's really bad. I mean, in the dang last election, they didn't, other than dang Kennedy Jr., and he was just saying the wrong stuff, nobody was talking about food additives or even healthcare at all.
Yeah, and his thing was, he was just he pointed out some things that might have been good, but then went the complete opposite direction you should have with it.
Deregulate the industry so that'll make it healthier, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
They won't just go even cheaper, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think in the U.S. we're basically screwed. So it's either abandon ship or just keep eating corn syrup breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I mean, I actually recently ordered a bottle of corn syrup.
Oh, you want to feel American?
Yeah. But they also, I made sure that they were also adding natural flavors and artificial flavors to the corn syrup before I drank it.
I mean, I'm guessing the Philippines is not the place to be for getting away from additives and such.
I mean, how else are they selling some of their bags of chips for 30 cents, 20 cents? There's definitely an insanely long ingredient list on there too.
When I looked it up, it said that the different colors were also illegal here. So, so we're escaping the craziness of the U.S. by coming to a place that's slightly better.
Wow, that's life for you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.